All right, we are live. Good morning, Sandy. Welcome back to another episode of Ask a Clutter Boss, the internet's best weekly decluttering advice show. I am Jess Marcy. I am your Clutter Boss host for today. And I have been so intrigued by these spend nothing movements and consumerism boycotts that are going on right now. And I wanted to talk about how this movement can benefit you decluttering in so many different ways on today's episode of Ask a Clutter Boss. So if you are new here, welcome. Please say hello in the chat. If you are here on replay, please give us a hashtag replay. We cover all different topics related to everything decluttering and home organization on this Decluttering Weekly Advice Show. Good morning, Mitzi, Mary, and Denise. I'm thrilled that you guys are joining us. Okay, so recently I have been reading a lot about consumerism boycotts, which are generally right now a political statement in this specific moment in time. But back in the beginning of 2025, there was just a general movement towards buy nothing, buy less, save more. This kind of, I'm seeing a lot of we need to change the way that we're doing things. And regardless of what your motivation is for wanting to do some sort of consumeristic boycott or savings challenge or a buy nothing challenge, this is something that we have been absolutely preaching in Clutter Boss since the beginning of Clutter Boss times. The very first lesson that we teach in every single workshop in Clutter Boot Camp, the thing that we always go back to is what we call stop the flow in. Stop the flow in means when you are decluttering your house, the best thing that you can do that's going to change everything is stop bringing so much in. So decluttering tends to focus on letting stuff go, getting stuff out of your house. And not a lot of people talk about how stopping the flow of stuff into your house is critical to your current and ongoing success. We do not advocate that you never consume anything. However, there is freedom, tremendous freedom in going from a rapid consumerism, have to have everything, click to buy, don't think about it, filling our homes up with stuff culture to a conscious consumption culture. And when I say conscious consumption, I mean consuming items in a way that is in alignment with your morals and values, your personal belief in what it means to be a good steward of our earth and of our homes. Being in alignment with your own values is what conscious consumption is. I don't love the idea of total minimalism, like living with almost nothing, right? That's kind of when you see these minimalist images and everything, you see nothing. I don't think that that is realistic for our day and age, but I do think that if you can get yourself to a point of conscious consumption, making purchasing and buying decisions that are in alignment with who you are and what you believe is the right thing to do, you will find so much freedom there. But how do you get to that point? So maybe you are inspired by a political movement that is going on right now, and you decide to take a short break from buying from big corporations. Just see how that feels. Maybe you just recognize that you have so much stuff in your house that you don't actually need to buy anything for a while. And going down that path and kind of experiencing how it feels to not have boxes coming in, to not have bags coming in, to not have to be hiding stuff that you're buying because maybe other people in your house are not totally on board with the purchasing. Feel the freedom that you get from that. At the end of the day, when we are decluttering our homes, if we continue to bring stuff in, even if it is in the name of home organization like boxes or bins, we're going to be standing in our own way because we are adding to the overall volume of our house at the same time as we're trying to get rid of stuff. So think about a glass of water. If you're drinking a glass of water, but you're pouring more water into it at the same time, the glass is never the volume of water in that glass is never going to change. Or say you have like a pitcher of water and there's a spigot at the bottom. You turn on that spigot so the water starts to come out. You're decluttering, but then at the same time you're pouring water into the top of the pitcher. It's the amount is never going to change, and you're never going to get to that decluttered point because you're adding as much as you're letting out. And what we need to do, most basic principle of decluttering your house, we have to reduce the overall volume that is in your house. Period. There is no way around this. You cannot organize when you have more stuff than fits into your space. But the big picture end goal here is that in this process of taking a break from consuming, you are learning how to be, you're giving yourself the time and the space that you need to become a conscious consumer. And when you're living in alignment with those values, your own personal values, whatever they are, if you believe that it's the right thing to do to save as much money on stuff and you want to, only buy stuff that is less expensive, that's in alignment with your values. If you believe that ethically sourcing certain products that you purchase is the right thing to do, and you give yourself the time and the space and you start to save money so that you can afford to purchase things that you believe are ethically sourced, that's living in alignment with your values. This is just step number one. Stop the flow of items in, take a break from consuming, and start to break those habits that we all have, the click and the buy, the FOMO, the I must have this because so and so has this. It's step number one to freedom from clutter. And if it's done because of a political motivation, if it's done because of a financial motivation, which is well, actually, one of my favorite things is when I get these text messages or see posts from our clients that say, I saved so much money this month. I'm able to apply some of my savings to my debt. I'm compounding my savings now because I'm paying down my debt and it feels so good. Getting the dopamine hit from making progress on your financial goals instead of purchasing stuff to add more things to your house is a really beautiful switch to see, and it's one of my favorite motivations for stopping the flow of items into your house. If you're in the comments and you have stopped the flow of items into your house, how have you done it? Do you have any tips for other people for their success? And or where's your stumbling block and have you saved money doing this? When it comes to how to actually do this, some things that I have done that have been pretty successful, and we talked about this on our how to stop compulsive shopping. We've talked about this before in the past, pretty recently actually, is to break up with those stores that you're always getting triggered to make a purchase at. Um, Delete your credit cards that are saved on your devices. Put stuff into shopping carts, but don't actually purchase it or put it onto a wish list. There was a comment on one of our previous videos that shopping carts are too tempting, but wish lists are easier because they don't have the, checkout button right at the bottom. Finding these little ways that you can embrace consuming less just gives yourself the mental space that you need to figure out conscious consumption moving forward. So there's been just so much conversation about this in the media, on social media. There's de-influencers now. So in the past, well, we know there's influencers on social media who influence you into making a purchase. And now there's a de-influencing movement. There's influencers who are de-influencing you from making a purchase. It's just an interesting shift that I'm seeing in our culture, in our society. And it's so much in alignment with what we teach. And bigger picture here is that when we consume less, we find freedom in our homes, in our hearts, and in our consciences. um, I guess I don't know how to pluralize that word. But that freedom is something that I believe we all deserve to feel. We deserve to have freedom from constant triggering of making a purchase. The emotional weight and the mental load that we carry from constantly being targeted with ads upon ads upon ads is enormous, and it contributes to our cluttered homes, which contribute to our health and physical and mental health and well-being. So, my encouragement for you today is, guess what? You can stop the flow of items into your house, whether it's a political statement or not. You can do it just for you to be in alignment with your values, with who you are and who you want to be in this world. And like the little side effects, the benefits that happen include saving tons of money, waking up in a more decluttered space because you're not constantly adding to it. And all of your decluttering efforts are going to be felt even more because you'll be able to see the space that you're creating as stuff is flowing out. You just deserve that freedom. So, how about we turn off all the buzziness and make these decisions to stop the flow of items into our homes, learn how to be a conscious consumer because it's what's best for ourselves in our homes and for our families. And it's just best for you. I believe you deserve that freedom. Embrace consuming less. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We have some comments here. Sometimes I add things to my Amazon cart and leave it there for at least a day to see if I really need it. 24-hour rule. Oh, I wait 24 hours before I buy something. Incredibly good strategies. Intentional spending with forethought. Do I have the room or want to take care of this item? Every single thing that you buy, you need to invest time in it. Do you want to give your time to this item? And just a general reminder, when it comes to environmental motivation, we have control over what comes into our homes and our lives, what we consume. We have very little control over what happens to the items after they leave our house. We may put them into a recycling bin. There is no guarantee that they're going to be recycled. We just don't know what's going to happen to them. We may bring them to a donation center. There is no guarantee that they are going to be resold at that donation center. We have control over the beginning of this process when stuff comes into our house. That's the point. If the environment and environmental, if you feel like you're doing this for environmental reasons because you want to contribute to saving the earth, the point at which you have that control is before the item comes into your house. Once you choose to consume the item, you just don't have that much control over what happens to it on the disposal side of it. Period. So the best thing that we can do for the earth is to consume less, to consciously consume starting immediately. So if you're hanging on to stuff because you want to do the right thing and let it go the right way, I would encourage you to take all of that time and energy that you're spending trying to figure out what is the right move with this item, what's the right thing, what's the best thing, and instead focus that time and energy on how can I make a different decision moving forward about what comes in? Because I've already consumed this and I don't have a lot of control or really any control over what happens to it after it leaves my house. Instead, can I focus on changing what comes in and recognize that that will have the biggest impact on the environment, way bigger than stuff that has already been consumed? You deserve that freedom. You deserve that freedom, and you can make a difference with your buying habits and where you choose to spend your money. Um, it's that's where you can make the difference. It's so hard to make a difference on the other end because you don't control the recycling industry, and it's you control how much you spend and where your money goes. You don't control where stuff goes after it leaves your house, regardless of how much time and effort you put into making sure that you make a good decision about that. It's simply out of your control. So let's control what we can. Let's do what we can for ourselves, for the earth, and consume less. Conscious consumption starting immediately. On that note, I want to say thank you so much for joining us live or on replay. If this encouraged you or sparked a thought in any way, shape, or form, leave a comment. Remember, you are a clutter boss. You have the ability to control the clutter in your lives. Thank you for being here and learning with us today. You guys, I love you so much. Go find your freedom, fight for it.